The standoff begins. The room was silent, except for the faint hum of broken lights. The ceiling flickered weakly, throwing shadows across the metal walls. A single table stood in the middle, cold and empty. The smell of smoke and burnt wires filled the air. Captain Ryan sat on a steel chair, his hands cuffed in front of him. He looked calm, but his eyes were sharp, watching every detail. The room was not safe. He knew this was the endgame. The door hissed open. Heavy boots echoed on the metal floor. An alien woman entered, tall, with dark armor that reflected the light. Her eyes were narrow, cold, and full of hate. She held a gun in her hand, sleek, black, and deadly. The kind of weapon that never missed. She walked slowly, each step heavy, with power. Finally, she stopped in front of Ryan and aimed the gun straight at his chest. "Any last words, human?" Her voice was sharp, almost mocking. The air grew colder. Time seemed to freeze. Ryan leaned back slightly, his lips forming. A faint smile. His eyes didn't show fear. They showed something else. Control. "Yeah," he said softly. "Your safety is on." The alien's eyes widened. For a moment, her confidence cracked. She glanced at her weapon, and he was right. The safety switch was still locked. She had been seconds away from pulling the trigger, but the gun would never have fired. Her grip tightened. She cursed under her breath. For a warrior like her, this was humiliation. Ryan leaned forward now, his voice calm but sharp. "You should know better. Pointing a gun is easy, but using it right? That takes more than anger." The alien growled, stepping back a little, quickly fixing the mistake. The weapon was ready now, but something had changed. The power in the room had shifted. She was no longer fully in control. Ryan noticed everything: the way her hands moved, the way her armor shifted, the small twitch in her left eye. He studied her like a puzzle. He had done this many times before. Survival was not luck. It was attention. The alien pressed the gun back to his chest. "Clever words," she said coldly. "But clever won't save you. You're alone here." Ryan gave a small laugh, low and steady. "Alone? Maybe. But I'm still here. And you already made your first mistake." She frowned, her jaw tightening. "You think you're brave because you found a small flaw? When this is over, no one will remember you." Ryan's eyes burned with quiet fire. "That's where you're wrong. People always remember when humans refuse to kneel." For a moment, silence filled the room again. The broken light above flickered harder, buzzing like a warning. The alien commander's finger hovered over the trigger, but now her mind was not clear. She was angry, and anger was dangerous. Ryan knew it. He could feel it. His heart beat steady, not fast. He had trained for moments like this. Fear was a weapon, but only if you allowed it. He never did. Instead, he leaned back, tilting his head slightly. His voice was calm, almost casual. "Go ahead. Pull the trigger. But you should ask yourself, why am I smiling?" Her eyes narrowed. She hesitated. Just for a second. That second was all Ryan needed. In that instant, the balance had shifted. She had the weapon. She had the power. But he had something more dangerous. He had her doubt, and doubt was a weapon sharper than any blade. The alien stepped back again, her grip firmer. Now, but her mind not steady. She circled him slowly, as if trying to break his calmness. But Ryan didn't move. He didn't flinch. His eyes followed her every step. Finally, she stopped behind him, her gun at the back of his head. Her voice was low and cold. "This is your end, human. You may be smart, but smart or not, a bullet is still a bullet." Ryan closed his eyes for a moment, as if he was remembering something far away. Then he spoke, his voice steady, almost whispering. "Maybe, but every end has a beginning. The alien froze, her mind racing. The words sank into her like ice. Something about his calmness made her uneasy. Ryan slowly opened his eyes again, looking straight ahead. His smile returned, faint but unshaken. "And for you," he said, "the beginning of your end was when you walked in here with your safety on." The light flickered one last time, then went dark for a second, covering the room in shadow. The standoff had only just begun. The hidden flaw of the silence in the interrogation room felt heavy, almost alive. The alien commander still had her gun, pressed against Captain Ryan, but something inside her had already cracked. His calm words, his smile had cut through her armor more than any weapon could. She had entered the room thinking she was the hunter, but now she felt like prey. Hand tightened on the gun, her sharp nails scraping against the metal handle. She had fixed the safety mistake, yes. The weapon was ready now. One shot and the human would be nothing but a lifeless body on the floor dot, so why was she hesitating? Ryan tilted his head slightly, eyes locked on her, unblinking. "You fixed it." "Now," he said softly. "But do you know what that tells me?" She narrowed her eyes. "What?" "That you make mistakes when you think you've already won." His words were calm, cutting like a blade. "That's the kind of flaw that doesn't go away. It grows. It eats you alive." Her jaw tightened. She hated the way he spoke, as if he was reading her mind. Ryan leaned forward in his chair, still, cuffed, still unarmed. Yet somehow his presence filled the room. You see, battles aren't decided by weapons. They're decided by who notices what the other misses. The alien commander's hand twitched slightly. She wanted to pull the trigger, to wipe the smug smile off his face. But a part of her small but growing felt like if she did, she would still lose. She stepped closer, her face only inches from his. Her voice was low and sharp. "You think you're clever, human, but clever doesn't matter when you're dead." Ryan's lips curved into a small grin. "Then why am I still alive?" Her breath caught for a moment. His words hit harder than she expected. She pulled back quickly, walking in circles, her boots clicking on the metal floor. She needed to control the room again, to remind herself who held the weapon. But Ryan kept speaking, his voice steady, pulling her attention back to him. "You missed something bigger than your safety. You missed me." She turned sharply. "What do you mean?" Ryan's eyes glimmered under the broken light. "You thought I was just another soldier, another name on a list. But I'm not here for myself. I'm here for what you're hiding." The commander froze for half a second. Her face betrayed her. Ryan noticed it immediately. A small spark of triumph lit his eyes. "Ah," he whispered. "So there is something. I was right." Her teeth clenched. She tried to recover, but the damage was done. He had read her silence like a map. "You've got something locked away," Ryan continued, voice calm but sharp. "Something powerful, dangerous, and you think you can control it? But the truth is, you're already losing control. Because if I could see your safety was on, imagine what else I can see." The alien's anger boiled. She raised the gun higher, pressing it harder against his chest. Her voice cracked with rage. "You talk too much." Ryan didn't flinch. His eyes stayed locked on hers, steady as stone. "And you doubt too much." The commander's hands trembled slightly. It was small, almost invisible, but Ryan saw it. He saw everything. She turned quickly, slamming her fist on the metal table, her voice echoing through the room. "You will tell me what you know, or I'll—" She stopped herself. She realized she had shouted, lost her control in front of him. Ryan leaned back again, calm as ever. "Or you'll what? Shoot me? You had your chance. You wasted it." The Alien Commander's chest rose and fell faster now. She hated this human, not because he was strong, not because he was armed, but because he saw her flaws no one else dared to speak of. And deep down, she feared he was right. Ryan lowered his voice, speaking almost like a whisper. You think I'm chained. You think I'm trapped. But the truth is, you're the one caught in this room, not me. The light above flickered again, buzzing like an insect. The sound filled the silence between them. For the first time, the alien commander stepped back, not because she wanted to, but because she needed space. Ryan watched her carefully. Every movement she made told him something. Every word she didn't say told him even more. The gun was still pointed at him, but Ryan knew now he had turned the battle in his favor. He had found her flaw, not the safety, not the weapon. But her pride. And pride was the kind of weakness that destroyed empires. Ryan smiled again, his voice calm and certain. You think you're in control, but trust me, this standoff is only going one way, and it's not yours. The commander's eyes burned with fury, but behind that fire was doubt. Doubt she couldn't erase. The tension filled the room like smoke. One wrong move, one wrong breath, and it would all explode. The standoff was not over. It was only getting more dangerous. The escape plan. The alien commander stood frozen, her gun still pressed against Captain Ryan, but her mind was no longer sharp. His words echoed in her head, cutting into her confidence like a blade. For the first time, she felt something she hated. Doubt. Ryan saw it. He always saw it. And he knew this was his moment. The cuffs around his wrists were heavy, locked tight, but Ryan had been trained for worse. Every soldier learned that chains were never permanent. There was always a way. He shifted slightly in the chair, his movements calm and slow, so she wouldn't notice. The alien commander paced the room, angry, her boots clanging against the floor. She was thinking about his words, replaying them, instead of watching his hands. Ryan bent his wrist, pressing the edge of the cuff against the corner of the steel chair. He twisted it hard, grinding metal against metal. The sound was small, hidden. Beneath the hum of the broken light, the alien stopped pacing. She looked at him with burning eyes. Do you really think you can outsmart me, human? You're in my base. My soldiers surround this room. You are finished. Ryan met her eyes, steady, calm. If I was finished, he said quietly, you wouldn't still be talking. Her face twitched. Anger rose again, but with it came another mistake. She leaned closer, pressing the gun tighter against him, desperate to break his calmness, and that was when it happened. With a sudden twist of his wrists, Ryan snapped the cufflock. It wasn't free completely, but it was loose enough to move. In one lightning-fast motion, he slammed his cuffed arms upward, striking the gun. The weapon jerked to the side, the shot firing into the wall with a sharp blast. Sparks rained down from the impact. The alien commander stumbled back, shock flashing across her face. Before she could aim again, Ryan surged to his feet, driving his shoulder into her chest. The gun clattered across the floor, spinning away into the shadows. The room filled with chaos. The commander hissed, striking him with her armored fist. The blow sent him staggering back, but Ryan didn't fall. His eyes burned with focus. This is my base, she roared. Not anymore, Ryan growled. He lunged at her again, locking his cuffed hands around her arm and twisting. Her cry of pain echoed through the room. He shoved her against the wall, the steel groaning under the impact. She fought back, slamming her elbow into his ribs. Pain shot through Ryan's side, but he gritted his teeth and held on. Pain didn't stop him. It fueled him. The gun was still on the floor, just a few feet away. Both of them saw it. Both of them wanted it. The commander shoved him hard, breaking free. She dove for the weapon, but Ryan was faster. He kicked the gun, sending it sliding across the room, far out of reach. Her scream of rage filled the chamber. "You'll regret that, human." Ryan breathed hard, his chest rising and falling, sweat running down his brow. He was unarmed, cuffed, and surrounded by enemies. But he was not broken. He never would be. He moved quickly to the door. The alien commander chased after him, but Ryan slammed the door controls with his shoulder. Sparks flew, and the heavy door sealed shut between them. For the first time since his capture, Ryan was free. The hallway stretched before him, dark and narrow, filled with the distant sound of alarms. Red lights flashed across the walls, warning the base that something was wrong. Soldiers were already moving. Ryan ran, his boots echoing against the floor. He kept his movements sharp, controlled, every step a calculation. He had no weapon. He had no backup. But he had something more powerful, his mind. And he had a mission. He wasn't here just to survive. He wasn't here just to escape. He was here for the prisoners. Humans and allies locked away deep in this alien fortress. If he failed, they would die. If he succeeded, they would live, and the galaxy would know humanity still fought back. Ryan reached a junction and stopped, pressing himself against the wall as two alien guards marched past. He studied them, their weapons, their armor. Every detail mattered. When they passed, he moved again, fast and silent. He had already mapped the base in his mind. He knew where the cells had to be. He just had to reach them before the commander. Regained control. Behind him, he could already hear the sound of pounding fists against the sealed door. The commander's voice roared through the hallway. "Find him. Bring me his head." Ryan smiled faintly as he ran deeper into the base. They would try. They would hunt him, but they had already made their biggest mistake. They underestimated a human. The prisoner's secret. The red alarms continued to flash across the alien base as Ryan moved through the narrow hallways. He kept his breathing steady, each step fast but silent. His wrists were still cuffed, but the loosened lock gave him just enough movement to fight if needed. He could hear voices echoing in the distance. Alien soldiers were searching for him, their boots thundering on the metal floors. But Ryan stayed. In the shadows, moving like a ghost. His goal was clear. The cells. The prisoners. He turned down a darker corridor, guided only by his memory of the base's structure. Then, faintly, he heard a sound that made his heart tighten. Voices. Human voices. Ryan pressed himself against the wall, listening closely. Yes, he could hear whispers, soft and weak. Someone was crying. Someone else was trying to comfort them. He moved forward, and finally, he saw it. A massive steel door stood at the end of the hall. A glowing alien symbol flashed across it, warning of restricted access. Behind it, Ryan knew, were the cells, but the door was locked. Heavy, too heavy to break with his hands. Ryan scanned the walls quickly. He spotted a control panel beside the door, its screen glowing faintly. He stepped closer, pressing his cuffed hands against the buttons. The panel buzzed, refusing his input. "Come on," he muttered under his breath. Then he remembered aliens trusted machines too much. But machines always had weak spots. Ryan slammed the edge of his cuff into the side of the panel. Sparks jumped. He hit it again, then again. Finally, the screen flickered, glitched, and the lock disengaged with a heavy click. The door slid open slowly, and Ryan stepped inside. The room was dark, lit only by the faint blue glow of force fields. Inside the glowing cells, Ryan saw them humans. Men, women, soldiers, civilians. Some sat weakly against the walls. Others rushed to the front, their eyes wide with shock when they saw him. A young woman whispered, her voice trembling. You're human. Ryan nodded firmly. Yes, I'm here to get you out. Hope flickered across their faces. Some of them began to cry, relief washing over them. But Ryan kept his expression hard. There was no time to celebrate yet. Listen. Carefully, he said, his voice steady. I don't know how many guards are outside, but they will come soon. I need to know everything. Why are you here? Why are they keeping you alive? An older man stepped forward, his face tired but determined. They're using us, he said. Experiments, forced labor, but that's not the worst part. Ryan's eyes narrowed. What's the worst part? The man's voice shook. They're building something. A weapon, something that could wipe out entire worlds. And they're using our minds to help power it. The room fell silent. Ryan's jaw tightened. He had expected cruelty. He had expected torture. But this was worse. What kind of weapon? He pressed. The older man swallowed hard. They call it the Starbreaker. It drains energy from suns themselves. They plan to use it against Earth first. Ryan felt the air leave his lungs. For a moment, the galaxy had seen dangerous weapons before, but one that could drain a star, that was madness. That was extinction. The young woman spoke again, her voice soft but full of fear. We heard them talking. The commander, the one who brought you here, she's the one leading the project. She wants to prove humans are weak before the galaxy. She wants Earth destroyed. Ryan's fists clenched against the cuffs. His mind burned with anger, but his voice stayed calm. Not while I'm alive. The prisoners looked at him with new strength in their eyes. For the first time in months, maybe years, they saw not just another soldier, but hope itself. Ryan stepped closer to the cells, studying the control console that powered the force fields. He tapped it once, testing the locks. The system was strong, but he had already cracked one door. He could do it again. Before he could start, though, the sound of heavy boots echoed outside the chamber. The aliens were coming. Fast. The older man's eyes widened. They've found you. Ryan nodded sharply. Good. Let them come. He grabbed the control console, slamming his cuffed wrists against it again and again until sparks flew. Fields flickered, then dropped one by one. The prisoners gasped as the barriers vanished. Move, Ryan shouted. Stay behind me. We're getting out. The humans stumbled out of their cells, some weak, some limping, but all ready to follow him. The door to the chamber burst open, and alien soldiers poured in with rifles raised. Ryan didn't hesitate. He charged forward, using his cuffed hands. Like a weapon, slamming into the first soldier and sending him crashing into the wall. He grabbed the alien's rifle before it could fall, spinning it around in his hands. For the first time, Ryan was armed. The other soldiers froze for just a second too long. Ryan fired, the blast echoing through the chamber. One alien dropped. Another fell. The rest scattered, taking cover. Behind him, the prisoners cheered, their voices rising with hope. Ryan's eyes burned as he stepped forward, his new weapon steady in his hands. We're done hiding, he said coldly. Now, we fight back. The battle for freedom had begun. The breakout battle blaster fire lit up the prisoner chamber like a storm of lightning. Ryan stood at the front, rifle steady in his hands, his eyes sharp with focus. Behind him, the freed humans crouched low, clutching each other, waiting for his command. The alien soldiers pushed into the room, their armor glowing under the red alarm lights. They were trained, disciplined, and heavily armed. But they faced something they could never understand: humans who refused to break. Ryan fired first. His blast hit one soldier square in the chest, sending the alien spinning backward. He ducked. behind a steel console as more bolts scorched the air around him. The prisoners gasped, fear rising again. "Stay down." Ryan barked. "No one moves until I say." The older man, the one who had spoken of the Starbreaker, gripped Ryan's shoulder from behind. "We can't stay here. More will come. We'll be trapped." Ryan's voice was cold and sharp. "Then we fight through them. It's our only chance." Another volley of fire shook the room. Sparks rained from the ceiling as an energy blast smashed into the wall above Ryan's head. He rolled to the side, firing again, dropping 2 more aliens. The young woman prisoner cried out as a shot grazed her arm. Ryan moved instantly, throwing himself in front of her and firing back until the alien who shot her fell. He looked into her terrified eyes. "You're not dying here." "Not today." She nodded, trembling, and held tight to the arm of another prisoner. Ryan's mind raced. He knew the aliens would keep coming. He couldn't just fight in place. He needed to move the group out. He needed an exit. His eyes flicked toward the hallway. The aliens were regrouping there, forming a wall of weapons. It was a kill zone. Charging straight through would mean death. But Ryan wasn't looking for safety. He was looking for weakness. And he saw it. A ventilation shaft ran above the hall, its cover half broken from earlier blasts. It was narrow, but maybe wide enough for the prisoners to crawl through. "Listen up," Ryan shouted over the noise. "We're going through the vent. Stay low, stay quiet, and don't stop moving." The prisoners looked at him in shock. "The vent?" One man STAMMERED. Ryan snapped back. "Do you want to live or not?" No one argued. He moved quickly, firing again to keep the aliens pinned down. "Cover me." He yelled to no one in particular, then sprinted across the room. His boots hammered against the metal floor as blaster fire chased him. He leapt, slammed his cuffed wrists against the vent cover, and ripped it free. The opening yawned above him. "Climb," he ordered. "One at a time. Go." The older man boosted the first prisoner up, then the next. The young woman went third, blood still dripping from her wound, but determination in her eyes. Ryan held the line at the bottom, firing burst after burst at the advancing aliens. His rifle hummed hot in his hands, but he didn't stop. Finally, the older man climbed into the vent last. Ryan jumped after him, pulling himself inside just as the aliens stormed the chamber. Blaster fire filled the room below, but it was too late. Ryan and the prisoners were gone, crawling through the vent like shadows. The passage was narrow, hot, and dark. Metal scraped against their hands and knees as they moved. The prisoners whispered nervously, but Ryan's voice kept them steady. "Keep moving. Don't stop. Quiet now." They crawled for what felt like hours, though it was only minutes. The sound of alarms and shouting grew faint behind them, replaced by the dull hum of machinery. Finally, they reached another grate. Ryan pressed his ear against it, listening. Silence. He kicked it open and dropped down into a new chamber. The prisoners followed one by one, landing weakly beside him. The room was different. Strange tall machines rose into the air, glowing with blue energy. At the center, a massive device pulsed with light, its power shaking the floor. The prisoners froze, fear etched across their faces. The older man whispered, "The Starbreaker. This is where they're building it." Ryan stared at the machine, his chest tight. The weapon looked alive, humming with stolen power. He could feel its energy thrumming through the walls. If this thing was finished, Earth would burn. Humanity would burn. Ryan tightened his grip on the rifle. His mission had just changed. He wasn't just here to free prisoners. He was here to destroy the Starbreaker. But before he could move, the sound of heavy footsteps echoed again. The chamber door hissed open. The alien commander walked in, her face twisted with fury, her weapon ready. Soldiers filled the room behind her dot. She pointed her gun at Ryan, her voice sharp as a blade. "You should have stayed in your cell, human." Ryan raised his rifle, his eyes hard. Behind him, the prisoner stood close, watching with fear, but also with hope. "No," he said firmly. "This is where I was always meant to be." The room tensed, both sides ready to fire. The battle for freedom, and for Earth itself, was about to explode at the Starbreakers. Shadow the chamber shook with the low hum of the machine. The Starbreaker stood at the center like a sleeping giant, its glowing blue veins pulsing like the heartbeat of a monster. Every flicker of its energy seemed to whisper danger. Ryan stood with his rifle raised, sweat dripping down his brow. His chest rose and fell as he stared at the alien commander. Her dark eyes were locked on him, sharp and burning with rage. Behind her, soldiers lined up, their weapons aimed at Ryan and the freed prisoners. For a moment, no one moved. The air was tight, heavy. The hum of the machine drowned out everything else. The commander's lips curved into a cold smile. "Do you understand where you are, human? You stand in the shadow of your own doom. This machine will break your sun. Your people will watch their world die in fire." Ryan didn't blink. "Not if I break it first." The commander's smile hardened into fury. She motioned to her soldiers. "Kill him. Leave the others. We still need their minds for the machine." The soldiers stepped forward, but Ryan fired first. His shot cut through the air, striking the first alien in the chest. The chamber erupted into chaos. Blaster fire rained down. Sparks flew from the walls. The freed humans dove behind machines, covering their heads as energy bolts cracked across the room. Ryan moved fast, weaving through cover, firing burst after burst. He dropped another soldier, then another. But there were too many. The older man shouted from behind one of the machines. "Ryan, you can't fight them all." Ryan gritted his teeth. He knew it, but he wasn't planning to fight them forever. He was planning to end this war here. He glanced at the Starbreaker. Its energy core pulsed brighter now, reacting to the chaos. He could feel its heat on his skin, like standing too close to the sun. If he destroyed it, he could save Earth. But the blast might kill everyone in the room, including him. Woman prisoner crawled closer to him, her wounded arm shaking. "You can't just blow it up," she said, her voice trembling. "If this thing explodes, it could tear the whole station apart." Ryan's mind raced. She was right. The Starbreaker wasn't just a weapon. It was unstable. Reckless destruction would end everything, but there had to be another way. His eyes scanned the room quickly. He spotted it a control terminal connected to the core. The interface glowed with alien runes, pulsing in rhythm with the machine. If he could reach it, if he could override the system, maybe he could shut it down. "Cover me." Ryan barked, and before the young woman could argue, he sprinted across the floor. Blaster bolts chased him, searing the air. He slid behind the terminal, slamming his cuffed wrists against the controls. The screen flashed, resisting him. The alien language was unfamiliar, strange. But Ryan wasn't trying to read it. He was looking for patterns, weaknesses. The commander's voice thundered across the chamber. "Stop him." Soldiers charged toward the terminal, but Ryan's rifle spat fire, keeping them back. He hammered the controls again and again. The screen glitched, sparks flying from the machine. The Starbreaker's hum grew louder, its energy flaring dangerously. Suddenly, the terminal spoke in a cold mechanical voice. Alien words, warning tones. Ryan didn't understand, but he knew one thing: it was working. The commander screamed, rage burning in her eyes. She lifted her weapon and fired directly at Ryan. The shot hit the terminal instead, exploding in a shower of sparks. Ryan was thrown backward, the rifle spinning from his hands. He hit the ground hard, his chest burning from the blast. The commander stormed forward, her weapon aimed at his head. Pathetic human. You think you can stop destiny? You think you can stop me? Ryan coughed, his vision blurring, but his eyes stayed locked on hers. I don't need to stop destiny, he rasped. I just need to stop you. Before she could fire, a sudden crack echoed through the chamber. The older man, one of the prisoners, had grabbed a fallen alien's rifle and fired. The shot hit the commander in the shoulder, knocking her off balance. Ryan seized the moment. He lunged forward, grabbing her arm, twisting it hard. Her weapon clattered to the floor. They fought hand to hand, striking, blocking, grappling under the shadow of the glowing machine. She was strong, trained, but Ryan's fury was stronger. Every strike he threw carried the weight of Earth. The faces of the prisoners, the hope of survival dot at last. He slammed her into the console. Her head struck the metal, and she collapsed, unconscious. The chamber went quiet, except for the heavy breathing of the prisoners and the rising hum of the Starbreaker. The young woman rushed forward, eyes wide. Ryan, the machine. It's unstable. If we don't do something now, it will explode. Ryan looked at the terminal, sparks flying from its broken frame. The Starbreaker pulsed brighter, like it was waking up fully. He grabbed the commander's wrist device, ripping it free. Alien codes flickered across its screen. He pressed it against the terminal, hoping the connection would override the system. The machine's hum slowed, its glow dimmed slightly. The device worked, but only halfway. The older man's voice cracked. It's not shutting down. It's just waiting. Ryan's jaw tightened. Then we buy ourselves time. Enough to escape. Enough to fight again. The machine quieted, but Ryan knew it wasn't gone. It was sleeping, waiting. He looked at the prisoners, their faces full of fear and hope. We move now, he said firmly. This fight isn't over. Not yet. Behind him, the Starbreaker pulsed faintly, like the heartbeat of a beast not yet slain. The shadow of its power hung over them all. The last. Gambit the station trembled as warning sirens howled. The Starbreaker pulsed in the center of the chamber. Its light dimmed, but not gone. The machine was alive, waiting, dangerous. One wrong move, and it would unleash fire strong enough to burn worlds. Ryan stood in front of it, chest heaving, his clothes scorched from battle. Around him, the freed. Prisoners clung together, their eyes fixed on him with fear and hope. They looked at him as if he was their only shield left. The older man spoke first, his voice shaking. Ryan, we can't stay here. If this thing wakes, it will kill us all. The young woman grabbed Ryan's arm, her wounded hand trembling. Please, you saved us. Don't throw your life away now. Let's escape while we can. Ryan's gaze never left the Starbreaker. The blue veins of the weapon pulsed slowly, like a heartbeat refusing to stop. His jaw tightened. If we leave it here, Earth is finished. No matter where we run, they'll fire this thing. Millions will die. Silence filled the chamber. The truth weighed on everyone. Ryan took a deep breath, then turned back to them. His voice was steady, though his eyes burned with resolve. I'm going to end it, no matter the cost. The prisoners looked at him in shock. The young woman shook, her head violently. No, you can't. But Ryan gave her a faint smile. I didn't survive this long just to watch humanity burn. Someone has to make the last move. Someone has to gamble everything. The older man's eyes glistened. You're talking about sacrifice. Ryan nodded. I'm talking about survival. He marched toward the machine. Sparks rained from its core, the energy swirling faster, as if sensing his approach. He gripped the alien commander's wrist device, its screen glowing with strange runes. He studied it quickly, then slammed it against the core's control panel. Chamber roared. The Starbreaker screamed like a beast in pain. Blue energy surged, lashing out in violent arcs. The walls shook. Metal groaned. Ryan fought to keep his balance as the device fused into the console. The alien runes flashed faster and faster. Warning of overload. The prisoners cried out, covering their heads. The older man yelled over the noise. "Ryan! If that core blows, you'll die with it," Ryan shouted back, his voice fierce. "Then I'll die standing. I'll die knowing Earth lives." The young woman screamed, tears rolling down her face. "Don't do this." Ryan's hands shook as he pressed deeper into the controls. He felt the heat of the machine burning through his skin, but he didn't stop. His eyes stayed locked on. The pulsing light of the Starbreaker. "This is for Earth," he whispered. The core flared white-hot. Suddenly, the commander, bloodied but alive, lurched from the floor. Her eyes blazed with fury as she drew a hidden blade and charged at Ryan. Time slowed. Ryan turned, too late to dodge. But the young woman moved faster. She threw herself between them, grabbing the commander's arm. The blade sliced across her shoulder, but she held on, screaming in pain. Ryan seized the chance. He grabbed the commander's weapon from the floor and fired point-blank. The shot hit her chest, and she collapsed for good this time, her body falling limp beside the machine. The chamber went silent for a breath. Then the Starbreaker roared again, shaking the station to its core. Ryan looked at the prisoners one last time. His face was calm now, even as the light of the weapon burned around him. "Get out, now. This ends here." The older man tried to step forward. "Ryan, go." Ryan's voice cracked like thunder. The prisoners had no choice. They scrambled to the vent they had used before, tears in their eyes, calling his name as they vanished into the shadows. Ryan turned back to the machine. The console's light flooded his face. He pressed the alien device deeper, overriding the final lock. The Starbreaker screamed louder, light bursting outward. Ryan whispered his last words, steady and unbroken. "Not today, not Earth." The core exploded in a blinding wave of light. Far away, outside the station, the explosion ripped through space. A blue shockwave spread in silence, tearing the Starbreaker apart piece by piece. In the distance, a small escape pod tumbled free, carrying the freed prisoners. They watched through the viewport, eyes wide, as the station collapsed in fire. The young woman pressed her hand against the glass, tears streaming down her face. He did it. He really did it. The older man bowed his head. He gave everything, so we could live. The pod drifted into the darkness of space, silent but alive. The freed humans carried with them not just survival, but the memory of the man who stood alone against a weapon meant to destroy worlds. Ryan was gone, but his sacrifice was not, because somewhere, on Earth far below, billions of humans still lived free, to fight another day, and they would remember him. They would remember the man who faced the Starbreaker and won.